Hey there, House here. Last week I went 8-6, bringing my overall record to 48, 45, and 1, and that maintains my win percentage at 51%. So, still looking for my big blowout week. Maybe this is the one. Let's get rolling, shall we? First up, we have the Thursday night game, which is tonight, the Cardinals versus the Saints. I like the Cardinals in this one. The Saints are dealing with a lot of injuries on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, mainly Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas. They're missing an offensive lineman as well. They're also missing Marshawn Lattimore on the defensive end of the ball, plus a tight end. There's just a lot to overcome against a Cardinals team that has been struggling to find an offense, but this will be the first game that they have DeAndre Hopkins back, which I think will play a huge role in their passing game as well as their run game. So I like the Cardinals here. Next, we have the Ravens versus the Browns. I like the Ravens in this one. The Browns are a team that they have a really strong rushing attack, but they showed last week if they can't get that game going, they're lost. And not to mention, in the head-to-head matchup between the Ravens and the Ravens own this one pretty handedly. Panthers versus the Bucks. I like the Bucks here. Again, a matchup where even before it was Tom Brady going against the Panthers had their struggles against the Bucks. I like Brady and the boys looking for a bounce back after a disappointing week last week. All right, we have the Bengals versus the Falcons. I'm picking the Bengals here. The Falcons had a surprising win last week and put up a good amount of points. I don't think that's going to happen 2 weeks in a row. I just don't trust that offense enough. Cowboys versus Lions. I'm picking the Cowboys because you all remember the rules. I picked the Lions. They lost. They then went to a bye week. So now the rest of the season, I'm picking them to lose. It doesn't matter who they're going against, what the situation is. I don't care if they're a favorite by over 30 points. I'm picking the underdog then. I'm going against the Lions. I'm picking the Cowboys. Jaguars versus the Giants. I like the Giants in this matchup. Their rushing game behind Barkley and an eventual healthier Daniel Jones is too much to overcome. Barkley has shown what he's able to do and be able to recapture some of that magic he had when he broke onto the NFL in his rookie year, and he's running hard. I like them over the Jaguars. Commanders versus the Packers. Well, I didn't think the Packers could play any worse than they did 2 weeks ago in London in that second half against the Giants where they fell apart, but they managed to against the Jets last week where they put up a measly 10 points and got blown out. Normally, I wouldn't have liked him in this game. I would have gone with the Commanders, but Carson Wentz is dealing with an injury. They're going to start Taylor Heineke, who is, I believe it's in his second or third year in the league. He's had some ups and downs in his one game against the Packers. He didn't play all that great. So, with history, I'm picking the Packers. Can't lose this game. Titans versus the Colts. Earlier in the year, I picked, when these two teams matched up against each other, I picked the Colts. And they let me down. The Titans played a lot better than I thought they would. They established the run with Henry, and that's something I think they're going to be able to do again here. Jonathan Taylor is practicing and is expected to play in this game, but I don't think it's going to matter for this Colts offense. I'm picking the Titans here. Raiders versus the Texans. I know they're only a one-win team, but there's a lot of talented names on that Raider offense for them to only have one win right now. I don't think the Texans have what it takes to keep their losing streak going. I'm going Raiders. Broncos versus Jets. Outside of how bad the Packers have looked, the Broncos offense has looked somehow worse. Their defense is one to watch week in and week out because if they ever have a chance of winning, their defense has to put up points, much like the 2006 Bears did for that team. If their defense scores points, they're probably going to win. But if they can't manage to get a turnover into a touchdown, they're probably not going to win. So with that being said, I'm picking the Jets here and their newfound rushing attack with Breece Hall. Next up, we have the 49ers versus the Chiefs. I don't really like the 49ers in this game, especially with how bad they looked last week against the Falcons. They put up a measly 14 points, and that defense gave up 28 to Marcus Mariota. Imagine what they're going to give up when Mahomes comes to town. I'm picking the Chiefs. Chargers versus Seahawks. The Chargers won an ugly one on Monday night. They went against a really tough Bronco team, but their offense is really, outside of Eckler, they don't have much going. Keenan Allen has still been dealing with a hamstring injury. I'm not sure what his outlook is for this game, but it shows that they need him desperately. So with the assumption of maybe Keenan Allen coming back soon and Austin Eckler just being the everything bagel for this team, I'm picking the Chargers. Dolphins versus Steelers. We're about to see the return of Tua, who is going to come back to action after missing a couple of games due to that concussion that he had in that Thursday night game that we all remember watching. I think he'll come back and play really well. I'm hoping that he doesn't take another shot to the head, because if he does, that's borderline career ending at this point. Have so many concussions in such a short time frame. I will say that the Steelers are a bit of a wild card with their offense. You don't know which one's going to show up with Pickett. This first week as a starter, he struggled. The second week, he looked outstanding. So coin flip on who's going to show up there, but I like the Dolphins and Tua in his return. And on Monday night, we have the Patriots versus the Bears. I like the Patriots in this one, whether it's going to be Mac Jones or their backup Zappy. Their run game with Stevenson is pretty strong right now. I don't think that Damian Harris is going to come back, so that just means it's more carries for Stevenson to get his game going. The Bears have some stout defensive players that's going to limit some of his ability and maybe make this a low-scoring affair, but that offense just doesn't have enough to get going against this pretty talented Patriots defense. Picking the Patriots. Well, there you have it. Those are my picks. Thank you for tuning into the House Report. If there are some selections that I made that you disagree with, please leave your own picks in the comment section. And lastly, for all my betting friends out there, remember, you win some and you lose some, but the house always wins.